Okay, so the project this week is this here Hammerhead GTS 150. I picked it up for a pretty good price. It's low mileage machine. It has very little rust. Not a whole lot of wear and tear from what you can see. This is a 2013 model, so it does have the blinkers and all that. So what's bad about it? So we're missing front fenders. The lights don't work. The motor will run only a couple minutes and it just shuts off. As soon as the choke shuts off, it shuts off. So something's up with that. We're gonna have to look into that, dig into that a little bit. But what I like to do on this, a lot of my rebuilds, I just wanna get it running in stock condition. This one is a little bit special. I want to turn this one into this right here. See the difference? That is a GTS 150, just like it, but no expense was spared on this one here. This is a real ripper. 25-inch tires, re-geared, re-clutched. I mean, this thing is amazing, the black one. So the goal is to make the red one a budget ripper or a budget buggy or swamp buggy. We wanted to put on these 25-inch tires. I were able to pick these up pretty inexpensive. I got a set of 4, so I'm gonna put that on here because, you know, I mean, really, compared to the swamp buggy, it looks a little wimpy, and it's really not enough. So I want to try to get maximum value out of it. I want to on a budget get it built up, and I want to be able to sell it for a profit. So I'm going to need to re-gear it. I'm going to need to re-clutch it, and I might have to tune the motor up a little bit in order to spin them 25s to have it performing somewhat like this. So if you own one of these buggies, this video is going to be really helpful to you. If you own a Hammerhead, a Carbide, a Trailmaster, really almost any 150cc buggy, but mostly the ones with an internal reverse, I'm going to go through how to make your standard buggy that doesn't perform well off-road into something like that on a budget. A lot of things I learned when I built this, I'm able to apply to this, and I think that if you want to go that route, I think you're going to find this video very helpful. Okay, here's the bad news part of the video. We got it running, however, what I had to do to get it running was adjust the valves. The valves had no valve clearance. We did 4 1,000ths for intake and exhaust, got it running. That's where my buggies like to run, okay? Try where you like, but that works for me. So I did a compression test on it, and we are at less than 120. Now that's enough to get it running. That is not enough to get it running well. When we look at the miles on the buggy, which is one reason why I bought it, you got, I don't know if you can see that, 275 miles. Not a lot of miles on one of these things. I mean, my son has one just like it with 2,000 miles. Same color and everything. But this one has low compression. Now, when we do a little investigation to see maybe what could have happened, we got to look no further than the airbox. So, when I opened up the airbox, first of all, it had a whole lot of oil in it. I mean, it just had probably, you know, 4 or 5 ounces of oil in there. That's not a good sign. That's an indication that, so the breather vent coming from the valve cover goes into this, and if that should just blow, you know, air, but not oil. Well, there's oil in it, so that would indicate it has blow by, which means that the rings is not making a good seal on the cylinder, and that oil comes up and it's got to go out somewhere, and it goes out that way. This air filter, which I think is the culprit, was not connected where it is now, okay? I don't know if this hose clamp wasn't tight enough. It's not really designed for that. It should have one of these air filters, but instead they put this air filter on. Now, I've since cleaned it, but this was laying off of it. So essentially, who knows how long this thing was running with no air filtration. It just dust and dirt. Dust is probably the worst for your air filter or for your motor to get into it. And it works like sandpaper. And so I think that's what happened. So how can we remedy it? Well, like I've done, if you've seen my other videos, I rebuild these things. You can get the complete rebuild kit from Glixal, and I go on Amazon, I get the Glixal kit. I get the 155cc kit. If you're going to rebuild it, why not put a bigger bore on it? Give it a little more horsepower. So that's what I do. It's not that great, but it's something, okay? And every little drop of lemon juice you can get out of these things. You know, as much as you can squeeze that lemon, get every bit out. Why not? So I do that. It's $60 to get the head and piston and sleeve. So you get the valves, everything, the springs, everything, okay, brand new. Or you could be a little cheaper about it and just get the piston and sleeve for $32. But you're saving a little bit when you get the bundle and you buy the whole thing, which I'm not sure which way I'm going to go. I might just go ahead and do the whole thing on this and just get the bigger bore kit in it. So, and let's go over some of the parts that just came in and why we got them. So I was able to take the clutch apart. And if you can see, I can kind of move this clutch arm with just my thumb. And that's what that does is that allows, with very low RPM, the clutch to engage. And that's too soon, especially if you're going to be running big tires like we want to do. So we're going to run these red springs, and that's what keeps the clutch arms tight. And there are 2,000 RPM springs. And what that does is that essentially holds the clutch arms in until you reach 2,000 RPMs and lets that thing hit nice and hard, okay? Then we got the contra spring that is also 2,000 RPM. What this will do is this will keep it in a lower gear longer. So it won't allow, it goes right in there. You see I don't know if you can see there's a black one in there now. Well, that is a lot weaker. This red one will be stronger, and it won't allow this pulley to open and put it into a higher gear very easily. So you may lose a little bit of top speed, but you'll be gaining it on what counts. Going up hills, going off-road, going a little swamping, running them big tires, it'll really help with that. Now, very interesting, I came over here to the variator, and there's a lot of mess going on here. You get one of these things out. Look at how, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, see how it's broken? So the outer shell of these are broken. I don't know what happened here. It's only 275 miles. There's a hard 275 miles, okay? But these are 14 grams. I did weigh them, what's left of them. And we're putting in, now, the higher the gram, the more top speed. The lower the gram, the more torque. So we're getting 10 gram, but these are Glixal sliders. I've used them before. I'm not sponsored. I know I use a lot of Glixal parts. It's just the most bang for the buck that I found. That may not work for you. It does work for me. Okay, but they work good. They're 10 grams, and that'll also work with the red springs to achieve that lower torque. For the lights, I'll show you these things here. Yep, got these Amazon cheapies. They're like, I think, 14 bucks from Amazon. Got two of them for $14. We'll see how they perform. Okay, the belt seemed pretty good. I think we're going to stick with the belt. I'm not going to need to put a new belt in there. It seems good. The piston. Yeah, I did take the motor apart because we got low compression. You ever see this in a piston? Look at how in between where the top and the middle ring goes, look how that is it came apart. Now, everything came out, okay? It was just laying in there, and it just kind of fell out when I took this apart, so nothing went into the motor, thank God. But, yeah, that's crazy. So, yeah, absolutely, we're going to put the new piston and sleeve in there, and new gaskets, all that, 100%. Now, the head I have here, I have liquid sitting there since yesterday, and it's still holding in there, so it has good compression. I'm thinking we may go ahead and use this head and be all right with that. And notice how easy it is when you work on these Hammerheads. The seats, the stocks, and by the way, seats are really nice. But they, the tops of them just pull right out. Real nice. You don't have to unbolt anything. Sometimes the seat belts might be in the middle and you have to take them off. But these have the shoulder belts, I guess the previous owner put on there, like automotive belts. But yeah, look at how nice and easy that is to get to. No problem. Okay, here are the two pistons side by side. I gotta show you something. So this is the old piston that came out of the 150cc. Now this is the new one, it's a 155 Glixal, okay? You notice right in here, I kind of had a shave in here, all right? If you don't do that, it's going to hit, depending on what motor you have, at least this motor for the Hammerhead, it's a 2013 Hammerhead, it absolutely hits, okay, right in here. So you got to shave that down a little bit, right in there and there, both sides. And make sure you do one full rotation without the cylinder in before you fully assemble the motor. I just fully assembled this motor. I had to tear the whole thing apart because I skipped a step, but I had to shave that down, okay? Not a big deal to do. Still highly recommend the Glick Sail set, but yeah, you get what you pay for sometimes. Should also mention that this is the drive sprocket that came off of this machine. It's a 16 tooth, and if you have a Trailmaster carbide Hammerhead with an internal reverse box, odds are you have that. Look of how many of these things I have. I always take them off because they're junk. It makes it geared way too high. I happen to have in stock a 13 tooth drive sprocket. I will put that on. That is a 19% gear reduction. That should work to get as close to stock gearing to spin these 25s, no problem. I would suggest if you're going to do this and you're going to buy the gear anyway, the sprocket, I would suggest buying a 12 tooth, and my friend at JD Custom Buggies has them in stock. Go to gotbuggies.com and ask for this, a 12 tooth for GY6. Will not work for an external reverse box, but just fine to get you rolling with an internal reverse box. Also just did a compression check, and looky there, we got over 180 PSI because of the rebuild. That's a healthy motor. Okay, now it's the good part of the video where we're getting ready to mount the tires. Now, we did our clutching, we rebuilt the motor, and the motor's running great. We re-geared it already. I got that smaller sprocket on. So now we gotta fit the tires. Now they don't just bolt right on. Now, the front is a 4-110 pattern, so all you really need is a spacer. I suggest buying 4-110 wheels. Now, this is just the way I do it. This isn't how you have to do it. But I use 4-110. You can get them from Kawasaki. They come off a Honda. They came off. The ones I chose actually came off a Suzuki. And a 4-110 pattern seems to be a pretty popular pattern. Polaris is completely different. You can go with Polaris, but you have to get different adapters. This is not an adapter. This is only a spacer. So it's 4-110 2-inch spacer. Okay, pretty common. All right. So I got these for the front, and that keeps, and I'll show you in a minute, it keeps everything away from your brake and your upper arms, and it gives you room to move, okay? You have to run some type of spacer if you run a typical quad tire. Now on the back, we have what appears to be a spacer, but it's actually an adapter. I bought these from a company called EZ Accessories, and not sponsored, but they just work really, really well. I like the way they're tapered, the way they're milled. It's a perfect fit, okay? So you have to run, this is a 4-137 is what comes in the back, okay? All the buggies are the same, whether it's a carbide, a Hammerhead, Trailmaster. The rear has a different lug pattern, even though it's 4 bolts, than the front. It's wider. It's a 4-137, okay? And then it steps down to a 4-110. So a 4-137 to a 4-110 from EZ Accessories. That's the place I found, and it fits really nice on there. I got an 1.5 inch spacer. You can get inch or 1.5 inch. And I'll show you what it looks like. I have the driver's side mounted already. Wow, doesn't that look much, much better? And I still got a little bit of work to go. Also, for those that like to know, I got the lights working too. Yeah, they work. They're very bright. Pretty happy for 14 bucks on Amazon. You can't beat that, okay? So that's what it looks like over there, all right? And I did take it out for a little rip, and just with the stock tires, and this thing's got torque for days. Now, look at the little girly, wimpy tires over there, and then you put on the manly tires there. That's what you got to do. That's what it's all about. All right. I think we did it. We didn't just slap some big tires on one of these Chinese buggies and hope for the best. That is the wrong way to do it. No, we got the clutching done. We got the gearing done right. We got the big tires put on. We got the motor rebuilt. I think it's time we take this old girl out for a ride, see what she can do. I think she looks great, but to see if she performs great. Okay, now it's time for the verse of the day. Today's verse is Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Friends, when I got this machine, I didn't want to save it from something, from the wrecker or whatnot, because I mean, the way that piston was and the way the motor was, I mean, it wasn't long and it was going to be destroyed. And who knows if anybody was going to know how to fix it. But I had a purpose for it. I didn't want to save it from the wrecker or from the junkyard. I wanted to save it for something. I wanted to make it a big tire buggy, a monster buggy, something to really have fun with. And that's what I did. Now, this verse is from God to the Israelites. And he's letting them know that he has a purpose for them. And this wasn't just from God to the Israelites. If you've accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, you are heirs with Abraham, which means this verse applies to you. God doesn't want to just save you from something. He doesn't want to just save you from hell. He wants to save you for something. God has something amazing for you. Get in his word and find out what that is. Friends, thanks so much for tuning in. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you like. Hope you like what you've seen. I hope this has been helpful to you. God bless you.